So the start then of 3 days of lying in state with thousands and thousands of Catholics and well-wishers expected to pay their respects to the Pope before he is laid to rest this Saturday. The body of the Pope, as we've been showing you, is being transferred to St Peter's Basilica to enable the faithful to say one final goodbye. His simple wood coffin carried from his residence then entering through the central door, it will, of the Basilica before being placed before the altar of the confession. Well, we're going to cross live to our correspondent Seema Gupta, who joins us now from Rome. Seema, we've been watching those images over the last half hour, really, here on France 24. Bring us up to date then with what the latest is and what's due to happen over the next hour.
Well, what we have been seeing is the solemn sound and hearing the solemn sound of St. Peter's bells to remind us that we are in a period of mourning as Pope Francis's body was brought what is essentially a short distance from where he lived throughout his pontificate, the Casa Santa Marta residence, through the archways that he often passed through when he came into the square to greet the faithful in the past, but now, of course, making this journey for the final time. And it's a long procession. We've been also listening to Latin chants as this is carried out. And of course, all the cardinals behind him, right next to him, the pallbearers are carrying the coffin, but right next to them, of course, those very colorful, elaborate Swiss guards. The Swiss guards who are sworn to protect the pontiff are there by his side as he begins this journey into the Basilica proper. He will be going through the central doors, as you mentioned, Stuart, and then will be placed there on a pedestal, but not a raised platform. He specifically said he did not want to be raised up high. It will be lower at a regular height, and the idea is at 11 o'clock local time, the rest of the faithful Romans, tourists, clergy, nuns, priests, they will be coming in through the doors in order to say their final goodbyes to Pope Francis.
Yeah, we're watching those images as you're talking there, Seema, and of course it's a real chance, isn't it, for people to be able to gather, to pay their last respects to the Pope over the next 3 days ahead of the funeral.
Yes, indeed. I think when one grieves a family member, for instance, it's understandable the idea that you have to do it together. The grief is easier borne when it's done in a group, and that is essentially what happens when the body is there lying in state. People can pass by and they can pay their final respects. This will go on for 3 days. It starts at 11 local time all the way till midnight. These are extraordinary longer hours because they do expect thousands of people to want to come to do this, and it will continue on Thursday and then on Friday till 7 p.m. and that's because there is a necessity to prepare for the funeral of Pope Francis, which will take place inside St. Peter's Basilica on Saturday. The funeral service will be presided on by the Dean of the College of Cardinals, the 91-year-old Cardinal Giovanni Battista Re, and he will preside over the service and, of course, the concluding prayer as well when the Pope is imparted on to God. And then finally, he will not be laid to rest in St. Peter's Basilica, but will be brought then for another procession, if you like. We'll see how that plays out, but brought to St. Mary Major Basilica here in Rome, because that was the Pope's final wish, that he be buried there. It's a basilica that was very close to him. It was a place he visited before and after every papal visit, papal travel, and also it was the first place he went to immediately when he was discharged from hospital after dealing with double pneumonia. So clearly the icon of Mary in that basilica meant so much to him that he decided that that would be his final resting place.